This is Dr. Andrew Jones. In this edition of Veterinary Secrets, I'm going to discuss the 5 most important homeopathic remedies you should know about. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, welcome. In today's video, I'm discussing something I've discussed in the past, homeopathy. It's got a bit of a bad rap, and no question, seemingly every time I do a video on homeopathy, or occasionally I'll throw in one of the homeopathic remedies in the variety of diseases I've been discussing. And I'll get more than a few people who will instantly just dismiss not just the remedy, not just homeopathy, but even the stuff I'm saying, based on their belief that there's just no scientific basis to it. Based on that, it can't work, and if you suggest using it, clearly you don't know what you're talking about. It's one of probably the most controversial natural health remedies that are discussed. It is really hard to fathom and understand. Well, in this video, I'm actually demonstrating Tula. I want to show you just how easy it is to give a homeopathic remedy. I'm also going to use myself. And secondly, to discuss 5 of the ones that I've had experience using, clients have used, some of you have written in and said they've used, ones that I really feel are really beneficial. A couple things I wanted to mention. First, the basic principle or way to think about homeopathy is like curing like. So I'll often equate it when I try to explain it to something around the principles of a vaccine, where a teeny amount of something, so say for instance the homeopathic remedy Arsenicum, a fractional amount of it if it's given in a high dose, will clearly produce signs of the disease of vomiting and diarrhea. But where it's given in a microscopic amount, the thought is it's enough that it triggers the body to recognize that it needs to sort of fight off that symptom, then ultimately sort of deal with the underlying issue, the vomiting or diarrhea. Alright you, and I don't want to get into any more than that. I just want to show you how easy it is to use it and give you 5 that I really think you can start to benefit with and start to use. Just going to give one here for Tula just to show you how easy it is. So there are teeny little capsules that, as you can see, little Tula is kind of interested in. She really likes food. How are you? And there are ones where you don't need to necessarily make your dog or cat swallow it. All you need to do is just lower their lower lip. Stick it sort of between their lips and their gums, and they can either just slowly break that down and absorb it, or if they choose to eat it like Tula is, so be it. Really easy to give. The first remedy I want to discuss is Arnica. Anytime we're thinking of pain, inflammation, sudden injury, shock, you want to be thinking of Arnica. It's the first remedy I've ever used. It can come in a combination of tablets, these small little capsules, such as these here, which I showed you, but also in a cream formation. So here it is here in a combination cream called Traumeel. Personally, I've been using it. I've got a hamstring injury. It works really, really well. So I've got this weird ass hamstring injury. It's called actually a hamstring tendinopathy, where the insertion of the hamstring onto the pelvis is not inserting the way it should be, and it's partly breaking down. That's that tendon or the soft tissue in that area. And I'm finding it's a combination of physio, and I'm really finding this Traumeel is really helpful. Here's how easy it is to put on. You guys don't need to see all the detail. It definitely makes my hamstrings feel so much better after using it. Only takes about 5 or 10 minutes. The second one here is Arsenicum, or Arsenicum album. The standard dose is a 30C capsule, so one 30C capsule per 10 to 20 pounds of body weight. And primarily anytime you have a dog or a cat with sudden vomiting or vomiting diarrhea, most typically would be a thing called garbage gut. They've gone in, they've eaten something. Go ahead and try to use Arsenicum. So really simple, what I showed you there with Tula. Just popping in one of the, for her size, she's about 20 pounds. So one of these little capsules, just popping that under her lips. And it, as I said, be given every 1 to 2 hours. You'd be surprised how many dogs respond so well to Arsenicum. Little Tula here is pretty hard on herself. She just runs 1,000 miles an hour, flies over the bank, especially when she's chasing something. So she has her share of soft tissue injuries. So one of the best natural home remedies that I've used for these acute soft tissue injuries is a homeopathic remedy called Rust Tox, which I have here. So the Rust Tox dose is once again 1 30C capsule per 10 to 20 pounds of body weight. Given much the same way I discussed, just lowering your dog's lips, just underneath his lips next to his gums. And it's one that can be given in a sudden injury, you know, say Tula flew over the bank. You can give it every 1 to 2 hours and do that throughout the day. And often you'll find after about the 3rd or 4th treatment, they feel so much better. So that's the 3rd one I think you should have on hand, Rust Tox. One of the more common reasons I saw clients at the vet practice is for animals being in fights, be it dogs, be it cats, and they'll get an infection and that actually turns into an abscess. So more often than not, you're looking at a deep puncture wound, there's a bit of swelling and pain. Really common for these cats, yeah, they're fighting, somebody runs away, gets bitten at the base of the tail, gets a swelling in his tail base. That would be a cat bite abscess. Cat teeth in particular penetrate quite deeply, injecting all that bacteria under the skin. It's very common to have those abscess. So one of the keys for treating an abscess is you need to open it up, we need to drain it, we need to draw all that stuff out. So all that purulent debris out, hopefully by flushing it and keeping it open. That's sort of the principles of treating an abscess. But nextly, one of the homeopathic remedies that many people have used and have seen it speeding up healing of an abscess is one called Hepar Sulf, which I have here. So once again, you're looking at a Hepar Sulf dose, and if it's a cat owner or a small dog, you're looking at about 1 capsule, and that is going to be given 2 to 3 times a day for somewhere to 3 to 5 days, and that's going to help sort of draw out that abscess and help speed up the healing of that abscess. The last homeopathic remedy I want to discuss is one called Belladonna. So a couple of particular conditions you want to be thinking of using Belladonna for. One, anytime we've got a really sick dog or cat, they've got a high fever, and I'll have clients phone in, you know, especially say cat owners or many of the dog owners saying, "Can I just give ibuprofen?" Of course you can't. Never give ibuprofen to your dog, ever give it to a cat. It's particularly toxic to our pets. Those are asking, what else can I give, doc? So one of the things you could consider giving is this homeopathic remedy called Belladonna. Great for fever. The other big indicator you'd think about using it for would be these guys that are seizuring or have some type of seizures. So in the cases of a fever, sort of 1 30C capsule per 10 to 20 pounds of body weight. In the case of a dog seizuring, for instance, similar sort of regimen, 1 capsule per 10 to 20 pounds of body weight. And for instance, you know, if you had a dog that was seizuring, clearly if their mouth is chattering and it's almost impossible to get near their mouth, you don't want to injure yourself in any way. I mean, they're seizuring off in their neck, their head is extended, so it's really difficult to do much. One of the biggest things in that condition, especially an acute seizure, is just making sure your dog's not hurting himself, banging his head against the wall so that he's comfortable on the ground. Don't try to reach in and grab his tongue or anything like that. That's old wives' tales. Just want to make sure there's no pillows around the wall if he's near a wall or something while the seizure is happening. Generally, a seizure, it's a minute and under. I'm not super concerned. Obviously, it needs to be worked up. But when it lasts more than a minute, especially more than 5 minutes, that requires some pretty emergent care. But in the interim, many of these animals that are seizuring, for instance, that have epilepsy, they can go back in again and have another seizure. So while they're stopped, one of the things you can consider giving, say even if you have, in addition you've got something like Valium, which your veterinarian may have given you for, especially during an emergency seizure condition. You could all consider using something like the Belladonna. Thanks for watching this edition of Veterinary Secrets on the 5 most important homeopathic remedies you can be using now. What I want you to do now is first click up there to subscribe to my channel. Then I want you to go ahead, click that link in the box below, and when you do that, you'll be signing up for my newsletter, and I can send you my free books and my free videos on how to heal your pets at home with my top natural remedies.